Our firefighter was Bob Forney. He was the fire chief at Brimfield Fire Department in Central Illinois. He died on January 5th of 2021. He was a COVID death. And he was right at 2 months in the hospital and before he passed. He was a jokester. He always chided his department guys. His famous saying was, "I've got mine," when it was regarding any qualifications or certifications they needed. They would ask, "Oh, you know, we can't get through this," and he said, "I got mine, so it doesn't matter," you know. And they would work hard to get that. He never asked anything of his department that he wouldn't himself do.
Bob was my dad. He was more than just like a firefighter or fire chief. So he was the mechanic, he was the carpenter, he was the one that like kind of jack of all trades kind of deal. So any issue that arose, he's the one that you called for help. So for me, after I started my full-time department, he was kind of like my mentor. He's the one that I would call and be like, "Hey, like I've got this going on, what would you do in this situation?" And now that I've kind of moved up in my department, without him, it's very difficult.
I'd say the mechanic because he was super good at fixing stuff, but that's just my guess.
What'd you call him?
I called him Papa.
I miss my papa because he was a really good guy, and I wanted to learn how to be like him, and I also wanted to learn how to fix roads from him.
Our local department was looking for volunteers, and he had at his job been on their fire department in-house, and it seemed logical. My brother was on the department at the time and encouraged him, and so he joined after they had his first fire was a major fire at the local seed company, and it just took off from there. He loved it. He always thought you should work your way up the ladder. It didn't necessarily work that way for him. He had been a longtime member of the department since he was on for 25 years, but they were needing an assistant chief, and they looked to him because everyone else on the department looked up to him, and he filled a void that was needed at that time within our department. And then our prior chief had gotten into some financial trouble department-wise, and they moved him up the ladder. And he would do it for the department. He didn't feel necessarily that it was something, he was humbled by it.
Oh, I'm gonna remember him as a lot of different things. Growing up, like we didn't really see eye to eye, we kind of butt heads a lot. But once I got older and I started having a family myself, he was my best friend. So.
Whenever you needed something, he was the person to call. Fixing a dryer or repairing your refrigerator, he was the one to help you if you ever needed any guidance into some sort of fix-it job. He was the one to help you with it.
And if he didn't know, he YouTubed it, and you knew at the end. One of my favorite moments was about 2 months before he passed. We were supposed to go on a family vacation down to Tennessee. Due to COVID, we kind of canceled that. And I thought next best thing is we can go camping. We'll take everybody camping. So most of our 4 boys and the grandchildren were able to go camping or at least join us at some point throughout the week. And we spent a whole week, which we didn't typically do that, camping. And it was fun. And now I look back, I'm glad we did.
Oh, when it comes to a favorite moment, there's not one that really sticks out. There's just so many good moments that I got to spend with him. But he's definitely the one that kind of kickstarted my career fire-wise. So when I first joined the department, I didn't start as early as 2 of my 3 brothers did, because I didn't want it to turn into a family thing, which obviously it did. But when I first got in the department, him and I took a lot of classes together, and that's when we really started to kind of like bond and grow together. And I think that's something I'm going to cherish.
Probably when he was able to get me onto the Peoria Chiefs baseball field with him.
Yeah, he got honored for a first responder night at the minor league baseball stadium in Peoria. So Dean, who was just a couple years old at the time, got to go on the field with him, and it was kind of a cool experience for everybody. So
He even got his own baseball card.
No.
Well, the first responders that were honored that night. So Papa got his
Papa
own baseball
got-
card.
yeah.
The local school kids loved him. He was big in Fire Prevention Week, and when we would camp about a month or two before Fire Prevention Week, we would pore over all of the books and see what the latest goodies were, because we made goodie bags. And it was just like Christmas with the Sears catalog when I was a kid. And we knew what our budget was, and we would figure out a way to spend every penny that the district gave us to spend. And we did. And the kids enjoyed that, and he loved teaching them. He was instrumental in several displays. One of them, he made a house front and then had windows with fire in it so they could shoot a garden hose, and the smoke alarms would go off, and yeah, he enjoyed it. Yes.
Just to kind of add to Mom's story about fire prevention and everything, all the kids in Brimfield, they called him Fireman Bob. Like that's what he was known as to the community. So
One of the favorite memories that I have of Dad was showing chickens, actually. Yeah. So we were always big into 4-H, and he was one of the chicken superintendents. And for a while there, we were going around to local shows, and we were breeding our own birds and competing them. And he did really well doing that. When I think of Dad, I think of one word: go-getter.
I think of honest.
One word to describe him is brave.
one word that I think of when I think of Dad is humility.
Here's to you, with that smile on your face. Here's to you, and what I want to raise to this moment.